Hey Starseeds, welcome to Starseed Energetics. This is going to be a transmission for the new moon in Scorpio, and this type of reading isn't something that I've ever anticipated of doing, but I've been guided to start sending out transmissions according to the moon cycle, as it is the fabric of our emotional morphogenetic field, and it's really helpful to set your intentions according to the moon cycles. So this time around, it's new moon in Scorpio. So it's good to set intentions on all of the things that you would like to release. For me personally, that's going to be all of the etheric implants, parasites. I think that's my main thing. But just make sure you set your own intentions for the things you'd like to, the structures or belief systems even that you'd like to release, and it'll be really helpful. So I've put out a 9-card spread, and just so that you have an idea of always what I'm doing, whenever I shuffle, I put the cards down face down, and I like to flip it as I go, because I kind of like the surprises. Like, I don't want to make preconceived notions about how the narrative is going while I'm shuffling out the cards, because then I'll consciously try to manifest the next cards as I'm going. You know what I mean? So my intentions are that we get a glimpse of what's going on over the new moon in Scorpio, and also what we should focus on, I guess, the new intentions, and in this case, what we should focus on releasing. So, let's see. This whole moon cycle is pretty much, you're going to be receptive to what's happening. You don't have much work to do than pay mindful awareness to how things are unfolding and keep that layer of mindfulness throughout what's going to happen. There's a couple of things going on here, one of which is very spiritual, because first there's the Hierophant and then there's the High Priestess. So that's the masculine and feminine of this sort of spiritual realm. Whereas one is more intuitive and one is more structured, but you have both of them in your reading. And then you also have the Star card in the center, so it can't get any more spiritual than this. Whatever spiritual means to you. Whether that means you are perceiving the bigger picture of everything that you've ever witnessed and perceived, that probably is the case if you are tuning into this message. It's got a lot to do with your life purpose and career as well. But then there's also, I think, one of the strongest messages is to not limit yourself to the desires of the ego. Because the things that you've been settling for and things that you thought were possible are too structured and linear, and it's too little for you now. So you just have to kind of maintain this balance of maintain a balance of using your current mentality that you have now in order to achieve a new frequency of your desire, but then not letting that limit where it's gonna go. There's a tendency of your mind to as for your manifestation process, you've got to kind of revamp it, because as much as you've had successes manifesting through certain things in your life, it's a little bit outdated to the person that you've become, the multi-layered entity that you are. So one of that is to this conflicting loop that keeps your desires small. Conflicting loop. For instance, when you desire something and it doesn't necessarily come about, take a step back and observe if there was something even greater than that desire that conflicts with that interest. For instance, it would be helpful to define your absolute highest desire. For instance, for me, that would be alignment to primordial consciousness and experience of absolute truth. I don't know if that's going to change, maybe changing later in life, but for me, that's the most important priority right now. And so sometimes when smaller things don't come about, it's because it conflicts with that ultimate desire. So let's say this is a good example. Like, let's say I want $3 million. I want $3 million. And it's like, I want it so bad that I don't understand why it's not coming about, because I'm such a high frequency being. And why don't I have the $3 million? I really want it. But because my biggest, largest level of desire is primordial consciousness and experience of absolute, like, alignment to absolute truth, that means that the essence of me should not value myself according to $3 million. Like, the $3 million should not alter my self-worth. So if by any chance the level of experience that I'm having, I'm equating $3 million to more self-worth, then there's the conflict. So first and foremost, I've got to align myself to that absolute truth before I can manifest anything that's anything in conflict with what I truly desire. And then there's this notion of time that's really highlighted here. So both the Hanged Man and the Four of Pentacles, while this in this deck has a stopwatch. Is that a like some sort of watch? So it's got to do with time. So let's say you want something to manifest within a certain period of time. The conflict here arises because your desire to manifest this within a certain period of time is untrue to the being that you've become. For instance, you're quantum now. So let's say you're like, oh, I want a husband by the time I'm 30, let's say, or a wife by the time I'm 30, or I want a kid by the time I'm 40, like something like that. Your underlying assumption is that the narrative timeline of your life is going to continue to be linear rather than quantum. That's why you want that age limit to how you want to manifest things. And you're also assuming that you're going to die by a certain age, which is definitely not true as you're going through these quantum shifts in multiverses at this time. Like, humankind is never going to be the same as we go through these ascension phases, including all the technology that's available right now that is going to even be released to the masses, even to the masses. So that's something that you got to take a look at. And as soon as you learn those lessons, you'll have much more success in creating the life that you desire, that your heart desires. And so it's not really that the universe isn't giving you what you want and it's gonna kind of cheat you. Like, it will never cheat you. It's always looking out for your highest good. So as soon as you learn these lessons, you're gonna be able to see. And so these things maybe are some things that you want to shed for this new moon. These things may be the things that you want to intend for in this new moon is this conception of linear time, which is definitely something that the negative aliens or nanobots, that's the kind of thought, that viral loops that it plagues human consciousness. This structured timeline, definitely. That's one of the things. Or not feeling like you don't deserve. Sometimes when you settle for lesser desires, it's because sometimes you feel unworthy of your highest desire. So that might be something that you want to program out of yourself, is this unworthiness to the highest desire. So then you tend to continue asking the universe for second or third shelf, but really go for the top, most aligned desire, because you really deserve it and you are worth it, and you don't need to do anything to deserve any of it. Just the fact that you are a fractal of the universe is enough. So that's the kind of mindset you're going to cultivate, and I think it's definitely something to be aware of. I'm not predicting that these energies will plague you during this time period, not at all. This message is for you right now so that you can set those intentions for this new moon in Scorpio, so that you could maximize that energetic magnetic fields that this constellation is offering to you. And then it's got to do with your life purpose too. So when you're setting your life purpose, even if you're very satisfied with what you're doing right now, sorry, continue to refine it by feeling into things and feeling what you love to do and the kinds of schedule that you dream of. Like, these are things you gotta continue to refine. And the types of people you want to work with. What kind of clique do you want? What kind of tribe do you want to work with? And, not everybody desires the same things that you do. It's very different what other people desire. If you serve the same, cake or ice cream to 10 different people, everyone's gonna either like it or dislike it. Not everyone's gonna like the same thing. So don't be afraid of wanting something and thinking that you're taking that away from somebody else, because at the end of the day, even if you were allowed to refine all of your desires and the universe gave everybody a chance to indulge in their ideal life, everyone's would be unique. I think definitely one thing that is central to this intention is your desire to connect with deeper, more deeply, and more consciously with your stellar origins. And this is definitely something I want to talk about as well. I feel like I've just been assuming that everybody has the same concept of what a starseed is. And sometimes people come across this channel and they're not really sure what a starseed is, and they just look at the tarot reading and they think it's cool. So I definitely do want to explain my perspective on starseeds and, things that, my perspective that I could share with you that perhaps you can agree or disagree. Of course, everybody has the right to their own belief system, and that's going to color their lives. So I want to offer some of the things that I think that might help you as well. But one reminder is definitely that your stellar origins, which definitely probably are more than one, unless you're somehow relevant to only one, is the background of your intuition. So your intuition is colored by your stellar origin. So that's definitely something you have access to every moment of your life. So once you appreciate that also, I think you will have a more confident way of interacting with them, because they're always there. They're always watching over you, because they're timeless beings. The last message in this spread that I'm going to share with you is the idea of a structure and tradition that you want to kind of shed by passively being aware of it, mindfully and passively being aware of the certain structures that you realize you're kind of trapped in, like as a human. But you're not really trapped in it because you are primordial consciousness. But the way you go about changing these structures and releasing them is by having this layer of emotional contentment and mindful awareness throughout the whole thing. So don't reject a belief system or concepts like, nanobots and things like that just because it makes you emotionally uncomfortable. Don't let it trigger you. Just stay in your center of that primordial consciousness that you are, and witness it as a narrative that your mind is presenting to you. And then that way you can transmute all of it. Transmute it in frequency. Okay, now I'm gonna do oracle cards. So the oracle cards that I'm gonna use today are the Enchanted Map by Colette Baron Reid. This was the one that intuitively felt drawn to me. Jeez. Okay. Another card about time structure. So time perception is definitely something you can intend to release. And if all of us who's tuning into this, intend to release this time perception, this linear time perception, and this notion that our time is going to progress just as it has in the past, no, it's not. Things are about to get quantum and synchronous and simultaneous. So, but then we also still, a majority of us, it's possible that we do operate in this human linear time because we've been so conditioned to do that. So a lot of the times like when we're setting intentions and goals and projecting a new future, a part of us can still be thinking and having an assumption that time is going to be linear, but it's not. So let's all try to intend to release this time perception, and when we do it as a group, it's gonna be much more amplified. Interesting. Very interesting, because with this ghost lens thing, it's referring to when you're not in the present moment and you're thinking about either in the past or the future, and it comes up with rock bottom. So when this rock bottom card comes up, this card I haven't seen in a while, but before, when I used to read this rock bottom card, before when I used to get this rock bottom card, there's this thing about the rock bottom that is just a perceptual thing. It's just based on your perception. Rock bottom is also when you reach a new level. The beginning of a new level is the rock bottom of that new level. So that's one thing I want to convey. But then also it's telling me that when you continue to view your life in this linear time structure, the frequency is gonna always feel like this rock bottom. So whenever you have this emotional stagnancy, it's because you're not perceiving reality through the correct lens of time-space continuum. So so that's something, let's remember that when we do feel this rock bottom energy, to shift your time perception. And also okay, sorry, the next card, it's interesting because the next card is 18, Magic Stream, and it talks about how nothing miraculous just happens by itself. Like, everything has been accumulating to this point of this miracle, and with it you also got magical map shifter, so that's double the magic. It's telling me that over the next moon cycle, something miraculous is going to happen. Something quantum is going to happen. And you just have to remember, like, and this thing that's going to happen, this new energy that's coming into your life, whatever physical event or manifestation that's going to happen over the next moon cycle, is literally going to change every single aspect of your life. You know, it's one of those things that doesn't just affect one area of your life, but all of it. And it is a miracle, but just remember that it didn't happen randomly. This is pretty much destined, and it's all of that hard work that you've been doing, and also because you are learning to deprogram this time perception. Once you can believe in instantaneous healing and embody that frequency of quantum timelines, this is going to be your new normal. This type of miracles. But as this happens and you embody this new consciousness as a fifth dimensional or higher being, you're going to start witnessing all these chaotic storm fields in your environment. Like, you're going to be this center of light in this chaotic environment because you've changed and you've shifted, but not everyone in your field will have done that. You know, the rest of humanity will go through these, but then your job is to just witness and be mindfully aware. Do you see how peaceful this elephant is, just singing and humming while the rest of the world is like this? This is literally gonna be you. And so I guess this is just a hint at what's coming. But I think this is something we've all known that was gonna happen. So there's that. I hope you have a really good new moon ritual, which will begin tomorrow, November 18th, praying over whatever intentions you have that you want to release and to plant new seeds for the new frequencies. And I'm really excited to see whatever miracle that is that's going to come up. Sorry for my stagnant energy today. I've been working all day and I'm pretty tired. But my intentions are that this serves you in some sort of way. Thank you so much for tuning in, and let's keep in touch.